It is I'm at Whole Foods, and it's June the 4th, 2020. Islam. Hold on one moment. There, I think that's better. Islam. What this video is about is going to be about what I've learned in reference to spirit. Lately I noticed and thoughts, black and brown lives count. Okay, so I want to keep that because I want to demonstrate what I've learned in reference to dealing with spirituality and what we are among as natural divine beings, as celestial beings, as natural divine celestial beings, Hebrew Muslims, Moorish American. So it's important to know what you're among in reference to spirit. And for me, when you're dealing with spirit, you can actually demonstrate truth better, and because everything that has life has spirit, right? So now I want to keep because the reason why I'm saying this, Dwayne, is because we are among unclean spirits, and then you even went into one of your tweets about unclean spirits in reference to, I think I remember you were talking about food and cleansing your body, bacteria, parasites, viruses. I don't remember everything about your tweet, but it was dealing with I remember at the I don't have it in front of me, but it was dealing with the book that I got, Demonology by King James. And King James, that wrote the author of the Holy Bible, he did a book about demons, and different types of demons and unclean spirits. So when you're dealing with spirit, I feel like I can communicate or demonstrate more. So lately, what I noticed that's in the universe is black and brown lives count. Black, brown lives count. And a lot of times I realize these unclean spirits, that we are among. It spoke of unclean spirits in Matthew, of the Holy Bible, Mark of the Holy Bible, and the Holy Bible was made public law. As Moorish Americans, we learned this as Moorish Americans. It was made public law in this country. So the Holy Bible is something not to be taken lightly. And if they made it public law, I think it was October 1982, then with education, because you gotta know what you're reading, and you demonstrate that. You were saying that you gotta have a dictionary, you gotta know what you're reading. Everything is not what you think what it means. So it's important to understand and take seriously when the Holy Bible speaks of certain things. So this is dealing with spirit and unclean spirits, and I'm going to keep going back to black and brown lives count, and also this is in connection to racism, because black, brown lives count, and then racism, and know that we are among unclean demonic spirits, and what they are capable of, and not just, and also unclean spirits come in many forms. They can be pale skin, what they like to call themselves white American, but white American is not a true term for them. If they haven't claimed a nationality, then they're no different than that which is considered African American or black Negro, according to constitutional law, because you're supposed to claim a nationality. So they can be from a different country, unclean spirits. They can be from, like, for instance, Mexico, South America. They could be from Africa. Unclean spirits come in many forms, but I want to demonstrate what I've learned since I've in this time frame, and especially since I've been here in Annapolis. You know, as Moorish Americans, Imani Gray-Bey and I, Rhonda Arrington-Bey, we say this constantly. We don't know anyone personally here in Annapolis, Maryland. We don't know anyone personally here. As we still stay in contact with the same Moors that we stay in contact with when we first got here. No one can say that they hung out with us. We had a conversation on the phone as a friend. Nobody can say they know us personally. And also, we also state that we reject the science of telepathy. Okay? We reject the science of telepathy that has been distributed in the population. Probably some of it was distributed or given out forcefully, and some of them was not taken willingly, and some was actually born with it. Now, in that science of telepathy, you have a spirit, because you can tell by the behavior and the thoughts of the people, Dwayne Bey, of what kind of spirit that is in it. Whether they mix the code with a dog, an ape, a gorilla, some beast, but the same code that they gave to the beast, the animal, they obviously, there's no doubt in my mind, they gave to these people, because they also gave it to the dog. You see, the dogs are not natural dogs. They gave it to the cats, the birds, the squirrels, and so they are actually taking this science, this technology to a different level, where you have a lot of unnatural beings or spirits in the population. So what is wrong with that? Well, you know, if you are living in a spirit of freedom, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. But when you are among the unclean spirits that are not only imbalanced mentally, and they're violent, where if they cannot communicate with you on a physical plane without fear of you calling law enforcement or pressing charges, with the science of telepathy, they'll stalk your room. These are unclean spirits. Or they'll start molesting your genitals in the public, or there's a way, or there's different technologies where they can actually carry their voice. You could be in the bathroom, for instance. I've been in the bathroom and I hear like Negro accents speaking around while I'm in the bathroom in the public. And so what does this do? If you have the same Negro black accent or same Negro black male that's unclean in spirit and female following you, they'll end up start saying, that's my wife, that's my husband. This is dealing with imbalanced thoughts. Or they'll start thinking that they know you. They have the right to do that because they've been following you or using that technology to do so. And the technology obviously is coming from government. It could come from the United States Navy, the Army, the Marine military, but it's obviously a technology that they've used and abused to force engage, okay? Force engage mentally, force engage, if they can, physically. If they could rape and molest physically in the public, they would do it, because they definitely try to do it while you're sleeping at night. So this is what I know that I'm among in reference to unclean spirits. So in connection to Black and Brown Lives Count. So let me continue. So you know, Imani Gray-Bey and I, Rhonda Arrington-Bey, we affirm to uphold the U.S.A. Constitution of 1787, the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, and all four of Abraham Lincoln's proclamations. We took the classes in our Moorish American nation, and we are still studying to better ourselves as natural divine beings, as true American citizens. I just recently spoke to Vital Records, and I'm getting my birth certificate mailed to me. It's going to be amended with my ancestral name, Bey. Imani already has his amended with his ancestral name of Bey. So our social security card was changed, you know this, to and we annexed our ancestral name to Bey. Social security card, our Maryland state ID says Bey. So we've gone through those paper that paper trail, but now we are on it. Now we are moving forward to a different form of freedom, because freedom has many limbs. That tree of freedom has many limbs. So, okay, I'm just, and once again, keep speaking about black and brown lives count and racism. Okay, so what I realized, when I first came to Annapolis, once again, we don't know any, still, it's June the 4th, 2020. We don't know anyone personally here. I never forget, it was so interesting because I was sleeping in my bed at night at an American Extended Stay. And once again, sometimes I would hear people talking outside and around the room. And I never had my genitals attacked spiritually before while I was asleep. Never in my life. So what these unclean spirits will do, and they will attack the genitals, okay? And if you never had it done to you, you think, oh, this is no big deal. You think something, maybe you had a dream. Because if you don't know that you're among unclean spirits that are able to use the science of telepathy, where they can actually be so close to your room, where they're in your room, or carry their voice in the sound waves to try to communicate or force mental engage. So many times those that are unclean in spirit will try to force mental engage to try to amalgamate. They will do it. So I never had my genitals attacked like spiritually, mentally, never ever in my life. So I'm sleeping in American Extended Stay, and we came here May 2016, the last week of May. I think we rented the room in August. So we rented a couple of times, but it was after August of 2016. And it was like I actually, and it wasn't, I didn't have a dream, but like a pressure was on my clitoris that caused my clitoris to actually, like you have an orgasm. Or where you just like you have an orgasm, you don't know where it's coming from. So I didn't know, like you like like an orgasm, like you playing, like if you playing with your like if a man is playing with his penis, or the woman is playing with her clitoris. So so what I did was I didn't know what I was experiencing. Then this was so odd. So I went to work, because at Burger King, it was so interesting, Wayne. So I went to work because I didn't understand why so many black males would sit there that are connected to the United States Navy and Army, sit there all day long almost, and like literally, and just talk loud. Some of them start acting odd. They didn't want me to touch their hand. They would become very rude. So anyway, after this happened to me, and that, because that's molestation, that's rape, okay? And so when you're dealing with those that have the code of telepathy that they give out to the dog, the ape, the gorilla, to the beast, they give it also to these quote unquote bodies that look to be human. They could be the Negro, black, male, or female. I'm not saying all, but definitely you're dealing with unclean spirits that have the same code as the beast, or as the beast on the field. The pale skin, they could be from Mexico, El Salvador. They have the exact same code as a dog, an ape, whatever, and you can tell by their behavior. So when I went into Burger King the next day, as soon as I opened the door, one of the black males that sit there all day long he just said, she got off last night. And I was so surprised, and this was in 2016, not ever having this done to me. I didn't, literally, and I was rushing to get into work. So I'm rushing to get into work. I opened the door at Burger King, and the black male, they don't sit there now anymore because we are in the middle of a corona pandemic. So Burger King has shut down the the dining room, so no one can sit in the dining room except for employees. But when the dining room was open, it's like every day or every other day, or they just there a lot during the week, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and sit there for more than 2 hours. A lot of them have Army license plates on their car. They wear the Navy they have Navy license plates on their car, their truck. They wear the Navy and Army attire, have Navy, Army. Some of them actually are in the Marines. So either they are in or connected to the Marines. Either they are connected to the military or they're in the military. So as soon as I opened the door, the guy, the black male, he looked to be over 45 years old. He was like, she got off. You know, I didn't know how to accept that, but why would he say that as soon as I opened the door? And I had just experienced something like that. So why would he say something like that as soon as I opened the door? And he was looking dead at me. So this was once again in 2016. So one thing I know about unclean spirits that have this code of telepathy, that they give out to the dog, the ape, and whatever other beasts in the field. They definitely encourage rape and molestation, and they also encourage murder. Okay, and I'm going to get to that, Dwayne Arrington-Bey. And so they are definitely are able to send sharp pains, which can cause disease. So this is in connection to the United States jurisdiction not being civilized in reference to health. Now the hospitals are probably full constantly in Annapolis, because I see just visually people that is obviously unhealthy somehow, in some way. But then there's also those you have different issues of being unhealthy that you cannot see, and I'm going to get into that too, because all this is connected to spirit and being among unclean spirits that are able to cause sicknesses when they force mental engage. They are able to cause mental illness when they force mental engage, and they can also spread sexual venereal diseases and viruses as well. So I'm going to keep giving you a demonstration of what I learned since I've been here in Annapolis. So that was in 2016. So then I noticed also, so I was like, so why would the male would say such things as soon as I walked in? And they would sit there, and these men or males would sit there at that table and say words like peace. Then they start saying more, say some of the things I would hear at American Extended Stay. I was like, what? And I could not but us being Moorish Americans, we are taught to be respectful to the military. So being respectful to the military, I'm like, okay, hopefully if we have affirmed to uphold constitutional law, these laws of freedom, they too have uphold, hopefully, these laws of freedom. So they're not being used or being vulnerable to be used as terrorists to rape, molest, murder, send sharp pains, spread diseases, whatever. They are actually protectorates of the true American citizens of this landmass. So let me continue. So another thing I noticed in reference to sound waves and those that have the science of telepathy. So I can be out, or for instance, when I leave walking, there's a voice, a male voice, and this is dealing with spirit, carrying, like saying, like they, for instance, if a person, I don't know the technology they use, but they'll use the same male voice making noise like or start talking, or even do a visually, mentally, I'm able to see, to try to impersonate you, or Morse, or just flat out mental engage. And once again, we don't know anyone personally, so why would these spirits be doing this? Forcefully mental engaging, or as I'm walking, so it takes me about 35 to 40 minutes to walk from American Extended Stay to Burger King, and this same male voice is making noises in the wind. So what would be the purpose for that happening? So it literally sounds like a beast, an animal. That is to I was thinking, now if you hear this same voice, or a voice similar to that, and this is also a female voice as well, and they it has a Negro black accent, and this is dealing with spirit, and also around the room, and they're sitting there stalking, watching. You taking a shower, they might be having orgasms, jacking off somewhere, because you're dealing with unclean demonic spirits. And I'm going to get to also, once again, unclean demonic spirits that and this is in connection to black and brown lives count, okay, and racism, okay. So if they sitting around, you don't know them, you have not implied that you want to know them, you have not implied that you shouldn't have to. You are a true American citizen, or trying to be a true American citizen, and there is nothing in the Constitution that says you must amalgamate and befriend anyone on this landmass. You are supposed to be upholding laws of freedom, in that you choose to befriend who you want to befriend. That is a civilized, balanced mind. That's, especially if you are maybe you're married, such as me. I've always said that I'm obligated or bonded to you, Arrington-Bey, always. Or even though we go back and forth, and I'm like, anyway. Or you want you or your son, Arrington-Bey, have made decisions to marry within the same state of mind and within your nation, Islam. So you don't want to amalgamate with a beast, or those that they have mixed with a beast, a dog, or cat, whatever mixture they have done to breed. You don't want to amalgamate with them. So what would be the purpose of these spirits, unclean, stalking, or using different technology to stalk? Okay, and then when they, or for instance, I've had so many times those that are unclean in spirit, where there are Spanish speaking, African American, Black, Negro, or even pale skin on a sly way. When the engagement is not accepted, the word racist will start. All of a sudden I would hear someone start speaking, she's racist, or literally mentally engaging, calling someone racist. Now, if you are in the spirit of freedom, if a person doesn't want to talk to you or befriend you, or don't want your child to marry your kind, if you are in the spirit of freedom and you are mentally balanced, what would you do if you mentally balanced? So that's fine. You're cool. It's no big deal. But when you are literally trying to force mental engage, you are trying to amalgamate a species that is absolutely different from you, and you know that you are on a lower life form, you are low life compared to that higher divine being, and you trying to amalgamate these unclean spirits that you have mixed with dog, ape, whatever you can mix them with, because you can, and then they behaving exactly what you mix them with, whether they have put a computer chip inside of them where they can control the cell phones, the tablet, whatever they done to these experiments, then you will feel. So I'm going to say you will feel, but then that makes sense why someone would try to say that they're racist. Racist? What is racist? I don't want to deal with you on a personal level. I don't have to deal with you on a personal level, right, Dwayne? But when you are literally trying to force mental engage and breed something that's unlike you, something, a species, and you don't care how you do it, you're going to do it, then you start creating up a reason of why a person would not want to deal with you. And if you know that you are on a low life form than that person, than that natural divine being, then you start creating a reason why you start forcing yourself upon that person. So that's what I realized what's going on here in reference to unclean spirits. Because I have never, if you're balanced, I have never heard of anyone mentally, state of mind, especially in my Moorish American nation, that have behaved in such manners. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened, because the lower self is everywhere, but just having to stalk and chase try to rape and molest in the middle of the night in the sleep. So if they cannot communicate with you on the physical plane, you're sleeping. They use some form of technology to mentally engage and try to invade your mind and communicate with you that way. So many times I had to deal with black Negroes, African American males and females doing that, or playing a song. These are unclean spirits I speak of, not all. Or playing a R&B song constantly. And then once I give testimony about it, then all of a sudden, a pale skins when I walk into work. Okay, so say I'm sleeping. I'm going to slow down a little bit because I know I'm starting to talk a little fast. Because I guess I get a little passionate because I'm like, when you know you're, and see, it's not just that they are something different than you are, but not only that, but also they're diseased. So they have diseases, and viruses. They're not clean. So not only are they different, it's okay. You can be different. What's wrong with being different? But not only are they different, but then they are diseased, and they have viruses. Islam. So these are unclean spirits, and they're trying to amalgamate themselves in your ancient ancestral line. So, and this is real, and this is not if, ands, buts about it. So not only these unclean, unnatural spirits, once again, are unlike you, they're of a species of some other kind, but they are actually they diseased. And at one time I told you at Burger King, one of the co-workers, they were just talking about loud like it's nothing, how Annapolis, his colleague Muhammad, how Annapolis had a high rate of herpes. It's him, and he's talking about it like it's normal, like it's nothing wrong with having herpes, so what does that tell you? I mean, and it was a group of them just having a conversation about it. So you knowing my healing history, and I'm telling you, I've been here since 2016, and I've had males aggressively try to engage. What does that tell you? It tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about the population. So it's not just in Annapolis. Okay, once again, the United States is not considered civilized in reference to physical health and mental health. So if it's not just in Annapolis, then you wonder why. Okay, so not only are they are mixed with something else other than something natural, something that they just threw together. Some of them are born with this code. Okay, so you don't know what they put in the code when they injected the pregnant woman with the code, Islam. Because it's the same code that they give to the dog, the ape, the beast, and what have you. And you can tell by their behavior. You can tell by the way they act. You can tell something's wrong with them. Let me slow down a little bit. So I can tell you from when I would go to sleep at night, Dwayne, Bay, and so my dreams are forcefully manipulated. And so by my dreams being forcefully manipulated, I might give testimony about it, okay? And if I give testimony about it, and it's dealing with African American or Negro Black, all of a sudden, when I'm walking to, or if it's dealing with the military, the United States military, and obviously, if I'm saying the United States military, Navy, the Army, Marine, that are behaving in such manner, it's obvious that they haven't taken an oath or affirmed to uphold constitutional law, the 13th Amendment, 20th section, and Abraham Lincoln's proclamations. So, I don't care, ma'am. So if they haven't taken an oath or affirmed to uphold these constitutional laws, then once again, and they are still carrying the word Navy, Army, who is controlling them? Who's controlling them? So when I give, usually when I have a dream or a forced dream in reference to that, especially dealing with the African American or Black Negro, when I'm walking from American Extended Stay to Burger King, I will see a lot of pale skins walking around early in the morning, either walking towards me, saying words that are similar to what I hear at American Extended Stay, or I'm feeling sharp pains. So, and then a lot of times I hear them, especially American Extended Stay, say the word brother, brother, and then the pale skin will start saying brother as well. And so what this is, and once again, this is, I want you to connect Black and brown lives count and racism, okay? Because one of the things I realized and I learned from you, Dwayne, is understanding and trying to see what really is going on, what's truth. And so what truth is, I'm giving you truth and giving you experiences that I experienced, and how the word racism or racist is being used. It's being used especially in reference to trying to force amalgamate a species that is unclean, nothing star about it, nothing extraordinary about it, nothing like I hear, like sometimes a telepathic message from Black Negro will come, forcing they hear the word galactic. They are nothing like that. These are experiments. All right, and these are unclean spirits, and they're on a low life level. So usually when once again I give testimony in reference to them, that's when the pale skins that are unclean of spirit was literally behave in an odd manner as I'm walking to work or from work. So and then I hear the word 3 a lot, the number 3, and like there's some form of initiation they're trying to do. Because when the unclean spirit that's demonic and trying to amalgamate, initiate, or first of all amalgamate, they can use a form of initiation. And so you're thinking, why is this happening? Why am I experiencing these unclean behaviors? These unclean demonic spirits, they are using a form of initiation, because in their set they're probably doing many forms of bestiality, sex, a lot of uncleanliness. It's no telling what they're doing in their group, but because once again, you're dealing with a species that is mixed with the same thing. They've got the same code that the animal, the dog, the ape, whatever has. So it's no telling what they're doing in their set. So to keep saying the word 3, I hear the word 3 at American Extended Stay sometimes when I'm walking. Sometimes out of the ordinary. I've heard at Burger King, I think I gave testimony about it. It was like, I think Miss Phyllis a few times, was like, let it be 3. I was like, what is she talking about? Let it be 3. I didn't know why she said that. This is the manager, Miss Phyllis. I didn't know why she would say that. Let it be 3, and especially if I'm walking out the door, going outside. I thought it was odd, but I'm not connecting her saying that to what I'm giving testimony. I'm just giving a statement about the number 3. I don't know her reason. I don't know her intentions for saying it, but I can give a testimony and tell you that what I've experienced. And so getting back, so once again, dreams being manipulated, and not a lot of times the Black Negro, African American that's unclean in spirit. And when I give testimony about it, that's when pale skins, they could have a country accent around, like country, like hillbilly accent, something that you would see down south, that they would have as the typical racist pale skin. That's when I start seeing them come around a lot. And then once again, the Black Negro, African American, male and female would be around. These are unclean spirits close by, trying to communicate again. You understand? These are unclean demonic spirits I'm talking about. And so I'm connecting once again racism and black brown lives count. Because see, when you speak, when you're dealing with truth, then and you speak truth, then you understand what's really going on. And I'm still learning the truth. You know, the way you told us, we are among a matrix. We are among a matrix, and they use different things in reference to spirit, different realities. They create different realities to hide what truth is. And what I see constantly is going on, especially with these unclean spirits, is they are constantly trying to create a false reality to hide what's going on. And all their realities that they create is all outside of natural law. Everything is outside of natural law. So natural law consists of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These divine laws that are natural freedom. You know, these are this is natural law. Bondage is not included in that. But these unclean spirits, everything they do, and this is in dealing with the United States jurisdiction, is outside in that divine natural law. Everything. And so it's not, I don't think it's a coincidence that in the United States jurisdiction is full of many people having venereal diseases, sicknesses, because they in that jurisdiction you are amongst spirits that are unclean, that spread these diseases and viruses purposely, and also can cause these things to happen. Okay, so now I'm going to get to causing sicknesses, and this is what I learned. For instance, I never forget, and continue like Spanish speaking. At American Extended Stay, a lot of times I hear a Spanish speaking accent as well. Imani and I don't know anyone personally. I have never ever dealt with someone that speaks Spanish personally. Never, ever. But once again, when you're dealing with unclean spirits, unclean demonic spirits, okay, and they are outside of natural law, and not only that, they have the code of telepathy, and that code is the same code that they gave to the dog, they gave to the cat, they gave to the beast and the animal. And so you are dealing with something, a species that they have created, placed in the population to be used, and to create, to keep that cycle of sickness, chaos, spreading diseases and viruses. So at American Extended Stay, usually in room 118, I would hear a Spanish accent constantly. Now Spanish, what they do a lot of times that are unclean, these are not all, and once again, I'm not saying all black or Negro, African American, all pale skin, or Spanish speaking, but these are unclean spirits that I've learned about. What they use them for, all right, 9 times out of 10, they are not, they're not true American citizens. They use them to mentally engage. So, for instance, I have, and then I'm going to get to spreading diseases. So they use them to mentally engage. So where you, for instance, I have heard them say constantly, constantly as they speak, forcefully, just like literally, like I feel like my sheep is being invaded with one of their voices. The Spanish speaker will try to encourage and say something about you, Dwayne, Moors, try to present themselves as helpers, but all the while what they're trying to do is latch on, because they too are something else. They're trying to latch on and be slave masters. Okay, so that which controlled them, which it takes military technology to do, would give them some form of power, whether it's creating a visual or forced mental engaging. So you think, so for instance, if you used to seeing a visual, you think, say you think it's a Moor, and you think it's, you're like, okay, or you see a visual on your camera of a Moor, and you think it's a Moor doing this. But what they're doing is they'll use that same visual, and it's not sent by Moore. It's sent by a Spanish person that they're trying to give them some form of power. That are not true American citizens. They're illegal immigrants, just like anyone who's outside of constitutional law. Illegal immigrants, giving them some form of power mentally. So you're like, what would they get off from doing this? They get off from you not knowing that they are doing it until they want to show you that they have been doing it, and then you feel vulnerable, and so they feed off that energy. Okay, so they're feeding off that energy, and they feel like they have some control, some power over you. Okay, or if they, for instance, I learned that they can replicate your thoughts, your inner voice. You think it's your thoughts or your inner voice speaking. Now, this is obviously some form of government technology, but it's not. It's a replication of your inner voice. So if so they can give that power to do, or that technology to do that, or to someone that speaks Spanish. And so that person that speaks Spanish, whom you don't know, for instance, I have never dealt with someone that speaks Spanish on a personal level ever in my life. Never. I never had nothing against them. You know, when they used to speak about deporting them and thousands of them being missing, they being abused, I was one of the ones to be like, I was very upset about it. But now, knowing that I'm among a matrix, and knowing that we are among unclean spirits, you have to question everything Islam. So anyway, so when I say I don't know anyone Spanish personally, it's not to put that Spanish, oh, she's racist. No, it's just being honest, I have never known. But when you're dealing with unclean spirits who are trying to spiritually possess your mind, who are trying to rape, who are lusting after you, not only you but your son Imani, or whoever, or your child, then that's when there's an issue, and that's truly what's going on. So so they can give this ability, or this perceived power, let me say that, to someone that speaks Spanish who's not an American citizen, but just someone that they use as a mental and spiritual terrorist on this landmass. So that's exactly what it is. It's an act of terrorism. It's an act of terrorism done upon Moors, or done upon true American citizens on this landmass, because you're dealing with unclean demonic spirits. So that makes sense why if those that are not true American citizens, why if you are coming from another country, why would you, if you are already signed up to be or behave as a terrorist, why would you try to be an American citizen? Okay. Or to be used as a terrorist. Another thing I noticed that they use these unclean spirits for is in reference to scratching, or causing it's like, for instance, sending sharp pains. So for instance, Spanish would come around me. I remember I would, once again, we don't know anyone personally here, but yet I could tell the Spanish would keep trying to engage. Either they using or saying the word werewolf. Now, why would they say werewolf? Unless they think they are a beast, and literally they probably think they're a beast. So because they probably are a beast. Islam, they probably are a beast. These are unclean spirits I'm talking about. Once again, they are because they have the same code as the dog. They have the same code as that mutt. They have the same code as the ape. So they probably are beasts. Islam. So they would come around me scratching, and I didn't understand why they would be scratching me, or they'll like have a straw and be sipping, looking at me like they want to sip the life out of something. Now, why? Because they don't know me. I don't know them. We don't know anyone personally here. So what would possess or trigger a thought for someone to do such a thing? But then I started to see little Imani and I would scratch would feel little bumps on our skin, and we couldn't find a bug anywhere. But then I noticed one night as I was sleeping in room 118, as I was breathing, someone would be breathing the same time, like I'll take a deep breath, and then someone would take a deep breath. And this sounds like military tactics, okay? Military tactics to make a person be subjugated or feel fearful or feel scared enough where they would amalgamate with something that's on a lower life form or species that they have created and placed in a population, all right, to spread diseases and viruses. So literally, this is a true statement. Hold on, someone's walking by with their dog, these pale skins. Let me let them walk by. Okay, so literally, I know, and you know, the way you probably have, these spirits are used to cause form of like dermatitis, where you can scratch and you think you're getting bit, but you're not getting bit. One of them are forced, probably while you're sleeping, resting at night, and you in that RAM stage, engaging with you to cause some form of sickness. And once again, remember, venereal diseases, okay? Venereal diseases, Islam, can be spread. So another thing I noticed, so when they would be standing, I mean, once again, we don't know anyone that speaks Spanish. So when they be standing there looking and sucking the straw like they want to suck the life out of you, why? What would give them that state of mind, that thought to do such a thing? Or they imply to send a sharp pain. Why would they want to send a sharp pain? You here on this landmass, you came from somewhere else, or if you were born here, okay, fine, but maybe your great grandmother came from Mexico, South America, whatever. What makes you feel it's okay to do something to someone on this landmass who have been here since ancient times? What gives you that right? When you come to someone else's land, you would think they would come in respect, but you're dealing with unclean spirits, okay? So for instance, if I go to Mexico, which in ancient times I probably visit Mexico. I go to South America. In ancient times I probably was in South America. But still in this present time, I'm new. I'm not gonna go there and start behaving like an animal. I'm not gonna go there and behave and attack the people, the citizens that are there. Why would I do that? Why would I attack the citizens or force myself upon someone who, to the inhabitants of that landmass, that either, if they are experiments, they're okay, but they've been there. So why would I visit a country in South America, whether it's Mexico, and go there and attack those citizens that have been there from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation? Why would I do such a thing? So that's exactly what I did. I just don't understand in reference to those that speak Spanish here in Annapolis, because I have never once again applied to want to know them personally, but just know that, hey, they here, hey, no big deal. But dealing with unclean spirits that are stalking, 9 times out of 10 are infested with venereal diseases, and viruses, other things, unhealthy mentally. This is what I've been exposed to. And a lot of times I hear them speak about magic, how she got a lot of magic in her. Speak about witches, she's a witch. These are what Spanish do. And then the pale skin is looking around and saying the same thing. These are unclean demonic spirits. Okay? And once again, remember about black and brown lives count and racism. I could never go to someone's landmass and impose and force myself upon the inhabitants that are already there. Once again, I'm speaking of unclean demonic spirits, and they are outside of constitutional law. And so them being outside of constitutional law, they are able to feel like if they are comfortable. They're comfortable to do this because so many are outside of constitutional law. Pale skin is not a nationality, Dwayne. So you have those that are white Americans, not a nationality. So when you have those that are saying I'm white in America, you already know that they don't claim a nationality. You already know that they're not in a constitutional law, because you have to claim a nationality to be naturalized. When you affirm to uphold these divine laws of freedom, you're being naturalized. The 13th Amendment with 20 sections and all four of Abraham Lincoln's proclamations, the U.S.A. Constitution of 1787. So if these not just those that speak Spanish, but others that come over here, if they are among those that are outside of natural law, constitutional law, then that's how they feel comfortable and more empowered to be used and demonstrate acts of terrorism spiritually and mentally. These are unclean demonic spirits I'm talking about. African American, black, Negro is not a nationality. They too are considered illegal immigrants. They're outside of natural law. They're not in constitutional law. And so that's the connection with that. And once again, when you are among unclean demonic spirits that are African American, black, and Negro, then they are manifesting that energy of being outside of natural law, then that's exactly what they feel more empowered to do so, because the matrix keep creating a reality, a false reality for them to do such things. Another thing I noticed is car accidents. They literally fake car accidents, literally. So so it's just like faking a shooting. So you sending someone inside Walmart, for instance, or a grocery store with a gun to shoot. Okay, you wouldn't think someone would be sent in there to do it, but you among those that have the science of telepathy. And within that science of telepathy, that code, they can be triggered or have something download in that code for them to behave like a savage, behave like violent Islam. So when I don't watch, Imani Gray Hyphen-Bey and I run Arrington-Bey, we don't watch live TV. We don't watch TV. We use the tablet and pull up videos and YouTube and stuff like that. But when the Walmart shooting happened, I just paid attention closely, and I was like, this is interesting, because this is really not adding up. And then there was other shootings that happened as well, and so that was in Texas, there was a shooting, in New Jersey there was shooting, and then there's still shootings. So some things are just, you can tell that it's created. It's created, and these people that are being killed are being sacrificed. And so once again, you're dealing with unclean spirits, Islam, unclean spirits that are being used to do such things. Just like they can be used to spread viruses and venereal diseases, Islam. Faking car accidents. I was right in front of Burger King, and it was so obvious this car accident was fake. So I told you, Dwayne, I gave testimony about this. I couldn't believe how many car accidents I would see in Annapolis on my route back and forth to work. It was like car accident after car accident. In New York, New York was so much, the roads it was crowder, or I should say, crowder. No, I don't think that's the word. There were more cars on the road in New York than Annapolis, but I didn't see not one car accident. And I was there since 2015 to 2015 to for about a year and a half, and we did a lot of walking. I didn't see not one car accident. Here I was seeing car accidents like it was nothing, and then the police would be out there going through the motions, Islam, going through the motions, acting. That's exactly what's going on in dealing with spirits. I can't say every single car accident, but remember, they're driving and they have the code of telepathy. At any time, one of them could get a trigger to do something in reference to causing a car accident at any time for any reason. Okay? So the last time I gave a testimony, I went ahead and videotape that. Now, the thing about it is, all these car accidents, since the coronavirus happened, it slowed down. The car accidents are not like they used to be. But the last major one that I saw was right there in front of Burger King. Many car accidents will happen in front of Burger King, but especially before the corona virus pandemic was known and they started to shut things down. And I videotaped it because I was about to cross the street, and right in front of me, the lady stopped to let me cross the street. I was about to cross the street on the walkway, and the black male behind her ran right into her. And just so happened, right next to her, there was an undercover cop in a black truck. His lights came on. It wasn't a cop car. It was a black truck, and then the lights came on inside the car. Now, that was so staged. And then the cop, as I walked across the street and I started to take out my camera and to videotape, he looked at me and said he F-U-C-K-U, okay? And that is true. It was a pale-skinned cop. The black male hit the pale-skinned lady from behind. So when getting back, so these unclean spirits, so when they attack you mentally while you're sleeping, and you don't know, so they're trying to rape you and have sex with you in your dreams, because they cannot. And once again, you're dealing with a species that they have created and mixed with dog, ape, whatever, because it's in that code that we have rejected. Okay, so when they cannot communicate with you on the physical plane, these unclean spirits, they'll try to communicate you in your dream. And if they having sex with you in your dream, okay, and if you don't know, okay, you don't know, or you are sleeping hard and you don't realize your genitals are being attacked, then, and if you have an orgasm, these spirits, they go around start bragging about how they F-U-C-K you, and then they'll start manifesting it into saying, I love her, excuse my nose itching, I love her, I love him, I love her, I can't tell you how many times these unclean demonic disease and virus infested was, when I walk by them, will start speaking about how they love someone. I love her, and then they'll say, I love her son. And so when you're dealing with a demonic spirit, okay, then you can understand how they can have such thought process, thoughts that are unclean and savage. So Imani Great Arrington-Bey and I, Ron Arrington-Bey, we sleep very light because we know we are among unclean demonic spirits, not just here in Annapolis, because it's all over, but we know here in Annapolis we are. I just gave you a testimony for what I've learned since 2016 being here. What else? So I spoke about the fake car accidents and the insurance companies. I'm like, well, I know the insurance companies have to be paying out a lot of money. A lot of money. Some of the sometimes the people seem to be hurt, like it's a fatality. So people get money from insurance companies. They might not ever get their car fixed, but they get money, right? So I told you, Dwayne, about them being able to carry their voices in the wind. And so at American Standard Stay, if you have that unclean demonic spirit that the government or some form of military force have put on you to cause you to cause you to feel some form of anguish, fear, then that which is really stalking you, or if they trying to give you the code, you're gonna be like, I'll take it, give it to me, I'll amalgamate with this filth and have an unclean demonic kid, okay? Because that's exactly, if the parents are unclean and demonic, all right, their thoughts are unhealthy, They think it's okay to rape, murder, molest. Not only that, they have diseases or whatever. Then the kid, they raising kids, right? Then the kids are the same way. These are unclean spirits, and that is just common sense, because it travels in lines. So whatever spirit that they place or try to force to put on or to follow, because obviously this is what's happening. These are acts of terrorism. That's what this is probably what they're hoping to happen. A lot of times I might hear them say the word stay. Stay. They keep saying stay, stay. Stay where? We're not amalgamating with the United States jurisdiction. We are a part and parcel of the said government as Moorish Americans. We don't want the code. We don't know anyone here. We're not staying nowhere because we're not in that jurisdiction. We claim our nationality. We are true American citizens. We don't stay in an unnatural law dealing with unnatural behavior, being among unnatural creatures. Islam. So that's another thing I noticed also. I hear unclean demonic spirits, especially when they raping, sending sharp pains. They saying stay. Now our Moorish American nation try their best, it seems, to encourage health, physical health and mental health. That's the same with other foreign nations, I notice as well. It's not just our Moorish American nation, but the key word is nation, not jurisdiction. So those that other nations also seem to encourage physical and mental health. Islam. What else did I notice? Something else they do besides being able to cause irritation through your skin, sending sharp pains to your gums, your teeth. I notice when pale skins that are unclean and demonic in spirit, those that be walking are with their dog, 9 times out of 10 they are the same as the dog. This might happen. Not just them, the black Negro too, because you're dealing with spirit. So okay, I'm going to end this with so I'm not racist, okay, but I'm speaking truth. We are among unclean demonic spirits, and to not want to amalgamate, have sex with something that's not like you, that demonic and unclean in spirit, does not make you racist. But I know that we are among a matrix that will use that term racism to hide what they're trying to do. You know, we're among those spirits that can control technology, your cell phone, your tablet, that they use like robots. And so they're trying to amalgamate these spirits forcefully in ancient lines. So in that, and when they're not able to amalgamate these spirits who are obviously low life, all right, if they weren't low life, if there was something so special about them, then they would be amongst themselves. But they're not amongst themselves because they're low life. They are beneath that natural divine law, and they're being used as slaves. Islam. And they're being used as slaves because that's exactly what they are, slaves, because they're not in constitutional law. That's exactly what they are. So it's not used, that's exactly what they are. These are unclean demonic spirits I speak of. So once again, you know the one, I'm not racist, but I'm giving testimony of what I experienced. And so in that, I can navigate in truth. Okay? If I'm among that which is different from me, they're not causing harm. They're not trying to rape, molest. They respect boundaries and freedom. You know, what's wrong with that? You amongst, okay, you're different. What's the big deal? But the thing is, when you're dealing with something outside of natural law, who is trying to rape, molest, and use different forms of mental manipulation whatever they can do to keep your spirit, keep the frequency low so they can breed, because they want to breed them, then that's the issue. And so, once again, connecting Black and brown lives matter. That's, to me, that's all about definitely breeding slaves. Not all, because sometimes I think that definitely you have police brutality. But sometimes I think also this is they are piggybacking off police brutality and using it to breed. Okay, definitely you have police. I've experienced odd behavior from police, so I know there's police brutality. Okay, but there is definitely an agenda to use that word racism to breed and amalgamate something that's not like you. All right, whether it be the Negro, Black, African American that they created, experiment, a pale skin, Spanish speaking, it could be whatever, into ancient ancestral lines, Islam. It's June the 4th, 2020, or pale skin Islam.